Good guy, Mark.
Yeah, he sounds like it, yeah.
What do you think about what he's saying? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he nailed it. I mean, we talked very briefly before about consumer confidence, and I think that that's really going to be the issue that, from an investment standpoint, is taking people more into the education side as opposed to a speculation side. Like our motto is education, not speculation. Real estate really is about education, and it's more on a local level. So what we're talking about here in terms of the grand picture is, yeah, Canada as a national stats and all the media. Oh my gosh, the TSX, but real estate investing is more on a local level. You know, what's the Home Depot doing? What are other companies doing? Why are they investing here? What's going on here?
Sure.
And when you do that, you know, what we call the ripple effect of how things are brought out. So, for example, I invest in Barrie. The GO train coming to Barrie. There's going to be a ripple effect. People from Orillia are going to drive to Barrie and then go to Toronto from there. I know some people for sure are doing that. So, you know, as much as the interest rates are a Canada-wide thing, real estate investing still is a very local thing.
And you know what I think is fantastic, I think the viewers at home don't realize, well, they wouldn't, but they will now, that you did your research and you saw that Barrie was going to be the next big boom,
for sure,
and actually moved from where? From Richmond Hill, from Newmark?
Just around the corner here from King City, actually Kettleby, Ontario.
Okay, in Kettleby. In King City, you knew the next boom was going to be in Barrie, and so you moved there and you've been there and you're cranking. I
am. I mean, it's, you know, like I was telling you before, I gotta believe in what I do. I believe in the Barrie, you know, the Simcoe area just north of us.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of driving, obviously, so I told my wife, I said, honey, maybe it's time we moved up there, and going full-time into investing was a big step for us.
Yeah.
And so we committed to moving to Barrie, and now we're more in tune, if I can use that word, in tune with real estate.
There you go.
So
that's great, very inspiring. Let's go to the phone lines. We've got a Craig living in Newmarket. Hello, Craig.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
What's happening?
I had a question for Mark. So, Mark, what do you think then would be the 5 things a new investor who wants to get into the market might want to do, and something a savvy one would do, and maybe some mistakes to be learned at the same time?
Wow, that's a big question.
That's a
loaded
big question. Thanks, Craig, for that question. I'd have to say, well, you know, to number them down, I don't know in terms of priority, but you know, the 5 things I would certainly look at is to first of all put a business plan together.
Yeah.
And once the business plan together, you got to have some clear goals and some clear objectives so that you can say, okay, I've got a certain amount of money and I want to end up with 5 properties, 10 properties, or doors as people grow. They get into the doors, the number of doors. And of course, looking at that, you'd have to either start looking at your credit rating, start looking at you know, how much money you have, whether you want to put a credit line on your house to get your funds increased. And then I would certainly talk about building your team, looking at joint ventures, looking at other people, because most people, they run out of money. I mean, I ran out of money. So where do we get our funds? We use OPM, other people's money. So start looking at that. Start looking at the developing joint ventures, relationships. I was just mentioning to Rav earlier that it really is about relationships. I've got fantastic people that I work with, that we work together on deals, because you know, I was just saying as well that Donald Trump is the biggest joint venture guy out there. When he puts a deal together, it's probably with a lot of other joint ventures, and he's probably a portion of that. 5 things. How many did I mention there? 3?
No, but that's a lot, and that's because really what you're saying is, you know, get a team in place, and I think that, you know, we could even add to that, Mark, that it's hard to do this thing alone. You need to be coached a bit. You need to be mentored. You know, like someone like yourself. I say, hey, listen, I've got, you know, $20, $30, $40, $50,000, Mark. I don't really want to put it in, you know, the stock market,
right?
But I want it to have a great return. What can I do? You know, and so then me and you could do, you know, okay, Rav, here's an investment. We'll take your money. We'll do it. Here's my credibility.
That's right.
Here's the team. Here's the lawyer. Here's the accountant. Here's the realtor.
Yep. And in most cases, you know, it depends on, one of the first questions I ask is, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? A lot of people say, well, I want $1 million. Well, $1 million is not really a plan. What I'm saying by that is that, you know, how do we start? And so I would definitely start with writing your goals down as to how many properties do you see? How many, you know, and I say, well, then of course I ask the questions. What's your credit line like? What do you have for down payments? And then I would start saying, well, maybe we should joint venture. You only have 10,000. Well, maybe we should look at doing a limited partnership situation, limited corporation, where they would invest in, get a secured rate using your RSPs. We're big on using second RSPs for real estate investing. You get a fixed return that way, but you're going to be more secure, and that's something that we should be talking about in light of what's happening in the stock market as well.
So Mana Investments is a vehicle for the person watching the show today to call in, to go onto the site and be able to get to you and be able to do a venture.
Yeah, I mean,
what is exactly? I mean, I know you teach. I know you help people invest. What could Craig do right now? What's the first step for Craig? It's what are we today? Monday night.
Yep.
Tuesday morning. What's he doing?
Well, I mean, to contact me, and again, I would say education versus speculation. This is not a get-rich-quick thing, especially now in this market. I would certainly try to discuss the basics of why real estate investing is what I personally believe to be a better venture than the stock market, and especially in light of what's happening now, going through the steps of cash flow, leverage, the different, what I would call the fundamentals of real estate.
Yeah.
So discussing that, and of course, asking a person like Greg, saying, well, where do you want to be 5 years from now, and developing a plan with that. And then saying, okay, well, then here's where we are, because we have to have a starting point. Here's where we are. Here's where I think we can go. Are these things good for you? Are these things comfortable for you? Because you know what? It's really, it's like a portfolio. We're developing a financial portfolio, and real estate is only one part. I happen to do all of it because that's what I personally believe in, but I wouldn't recommend that for everybody because not everybody has a stomach of risk. Everyone's risk is different, and that's a big thing about financial planning.
Well, we have a mutual friend, Raymond Aaron,
yep.
And Raymond says that if you want to be financially free, the wealthiest people, the millionaires, don't diversify,
yeah.
Right?
They take it.
Yeah, Warren Buffett
Yep.
is securities.
That's right.
Trump, Kiyosaki is real estate.
That's right.
So I think it depends where you want to be. You're right.
Yeah. And it's a higher risk though, Rav. I mean, there is I've taken some chances, and putting basically all my eggs in one basket will produce a result. But again, that's where the market is going, because what I believe to be the internet. The more you focus, the more you specialize, the more you're going to become an expert in that area. And
it's more risk, but I think risk by definition is just lack of knowledge. Minimal risk is the more knowledge you have, and I think you've said many times today it's not speculative.
That's right.
It's you have to be educated, and once you are educated,
yep.
then the risk is minimal.
Yeah, and
right?
as we can see again, talking about the markets today. It's about education, and sometimes what happens in the stock market is like educated gambling. Whereas what I try to do is say, okay, look at what are the economic fundamentals of a local economy. Forget what the newspapers say. Forget what the media headlines are. What are we talking about? We're talking about a university in Orillia. We're talking about a Costco coming to it. We're talking about a supercenter Walmart. Walmart has their own satellites, for crying out loud. Do they look and say, this is the area of growth, a 50-mile radius? Why are they building in Orillia? I think they can. I think they have more economists on their board than on my board.
Well, GO train to Barrie, a Toyota plant in
Woodstock.
Stratford,
Yep.
Woodstock.
Yep.
So there's many places. It's all strategic.
That's right.
We've talked a lot, Craig. We didn't get you in here. Does that make